This Sunday is a very, very special Sunday in the church. Not only do we have 5 baptisms this Sunday, but this Sunday we come to celebrate the 8th Sunday of Ordinary Time. I mean, no applause, no fanfare? Oh, you're probably saying, well, why is this Sunday so important then? Well, this Sunday is so important because we hardly ever celebrate the 8th Sunday of Ordinary Time in the year. Because many years it is trumped by the Lenten season. And so it's only like every 4 or 5 years that we get to celebrate the 8th Sundays. Which also means it's only about every 4 or 5 years that we get to hear the special readings that we have. And the readings that we had today at Mass are powerful. But they're a whole bunch of small sayings filled with wisdom. And I would go through each one of those sayings, but I know that you don't want to be here for 4 hours, so I'll keep it down to 2. But I encourage you on your own to spend some time and meditate upon each of the different sayings in the readings today. Because they are gems in themselves. But today I'm going to focus on only one. And the one that I want to focus on comes from the Gospel. In the Gospel, Jesus says that a good tree will bear good fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. But by the fruit that is born, it will be known. A good tree will only bear good fruit. And taking that into our own personal spirituality, we are trees. We're fruit trees. And we're called to bear wonderful fruit. But now the question is, are you good fruit trees or bad fruit trees? Well, the good news is that because of your baptism, you have been washed clean of original sin. You have been configured to Christ. You have died to the world, and you are reborn in Him. And as our Lord said at the dawn of creation, after He created mankind, He looked at man, what He did, and He said, "It is very good." We're good trees. But I think it's a horticulturist will tell you or teach you that every tree, every fruit tree, if it's trimmed properly, the fruit will become even better or more numerous. And that is what we need to do in our own lives. We need to trim out the dead branches. We need to trim out the branches that aren't producing any fruit, so that we can bear not just good fruit, but good and abundant fruit. And they will know that we are Christians, that we're followers of Christ by the fruit that we produce. But now, how do we do this in our lives? Well, the church gives us a wonderful season where we really focus in on trimming the dead wood and the non-producing branches out of our life. And that season begins this Wednesday, with Ash Wednesday, as we begin our Lenten journey with Christ. And during this time, the church gives us 3 extremely powerful tools to help us to produce more fruit in our lives. Oftentimes we call these the tripod of holiness: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And through these 3 things, we grow in spiritual abundance and we bear much fruit. But all 3 are needed. Because if you only have 1 or 2, a chair with 1 leg, it's going to fall. A chair with 2 legs, it's going to fall. But a chair with 3 legs will stand firm. And all 3 are needed. And so the church gives us the opportunity, first and foremost, to fast 2 special times during the Lenten season. One is this coming Wednesday, Ash Wednesday. The other is Good Friday. Now, we're called to fast from food on those 2 days. And so fasting from food means 1 normal-sized meal and 2 smaller meals that don't equal the size of a normal meal. But fasting is so very important. We shouldn't just do it 2 times a year. In fact, many people throughout the Lenten season will take on voluntary fasts for the whole 40 days. And so, what is fasting? Fasting, first and foremost, is giving up something that is good for a set amount of time. You never, ever, ever fast from sinning. I mean, you should always be turning from sinning. I mean, you don't fast from cussing for 40 days just to start cussing in 41 days. You always are called to give up sinning. But fasting, the reason why it is so important is when you're denying yourself of something that is good, it allows you to gain strength. Fasting is, for Catholics, is like going to the gym for a muscle man. And the same rule applies. No pain, no gain. If there's no struggle, you really aren't getting anything out of it. And so you deny yourself of something good. And so many times people are stupid and they give up chocolate for 40 days. Don't know why. It is good though. Or they give up sodas, or they give up candy. They give up sweets. And that's good. But remember, no pain, no gain. Now I'm going to be stupid here real quick. I'm going to fast from chocolate for 1 second. Done! I succeeded. But it was no real struggle. And so, if you take on a voluntary fast this year, if it's a piece of cake to you, reevaluate it. Say, how can I make this more of a struggle? Because if I can say no to this good thing, when temptations come, and temptations always have something good associated with them. Now remember, temptations aren't bad. Temptations are an opportunity to grow in grace. However, there's also the possibility of falling to sin. But when a temptation comes, if you fast on a regular basis and you're able to say no to good things, when this temptation comes, hopefully then you will have strength to say no to that temptation. And this is why fasting is so very important. And we should do it on a regular basis. But remember, no pain, no gain. So fasting is so very important. Now, the second leg of the tripod of holiness, prayer. Well, what fasting does is it allows us to grow in strength. What prayer does is allows us to grow in relationship with God, our Savior. To have Him become our friend. To get to know Him intimately. To have Him being part of our life. And prayer is so powerful. Now, the good news is that during the Lenten season, in prayer, you can also fast at the same time. I mean, one thing that I encourage all of you to do this Lenten season is to spend more time in prayer. We have our beautiful adoration chapel. A great thing to do is fast of time. Give an hour a day to the adoration chapel. Or half an hour a day. Or maybe even just 5 minutes a day. Make it be a struggle though. Now, if you're already in a door, and if you aren't, by the way, you can go to Coffee and Donuts and sign up. But if you're already in a door, and you go at 2 in the afternoon, well, maybe one way to ramp it up and make it more of a sacrifice, go at 2 in the afternoon, but then also go at 2 in the morning. No pain, no gain. But sacrifice by giving of your time in prayer. And another wonderful way to pray is the Mass itself. Maybe make the commitment to start coming to daily Mass during that Lenten season. Or on Fridays during the Lenten season, we have the Stations of the Cross, another beautiful way of prayer as well. As we walk with our Lord through Jerusalem, as we walk up the mountain with him to Golgotha, as we join him upon the cross, as we die with him, as we enter into the tomb with him, and ultimately at Easter, as we rise with him. Prayer and fasting are so powerful. But then also almsgiving. Prayer, our relationship with God. Fasting strengthens us to say no to sinful things. But almsgiving opens up our hearts to our brothers and sisters. And in our parish, we have many wonderful opportunities to give alms. One of the newest opportunities that we have is our St. Teresa of Calcutta soup kitchen, where we offer warm milk every Friday to anybody who's in need. Volunteering of your time and serving there, offering to cook a meal for them, or donating food or money, but of giving of yourself out of love, out of concern for others. And that is what the season of Lent is all about. It is to help us to trim this tree, to make it so it will bear so much more fruit. But the more we put into it, the more we get out of it. Now we have one other most awesome opportunity to put ourselves into this Lenten season, to make it the most wonderful Lenten season ever. Not this Monday, but next Monday, we begin our parish mission. And this year, I have a fabulous mission leader coming. I had to book him 2 years ago. He's so good. Monsignor Doug Ron. Many of you might know him. He's the pastor at St. Thomas Aquinas Parish in Rio Rancho. But he's been giving parish missions for decades upon decades. And they are so powerful. And so one thing I also encourage you during this Lenten season, mark off on your calendars now 4 days. Because during this Lenten mission, the topic will be how to be a Christian. So a week from Monday, the focus will be our need for God. Then a week from Tuesday, the separation of sin. Then on Wednesday, who is Jesus and what did he do for us? And then Thursday, what must we do to be saved? 4 powerful topics on how to be Christian. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with them because my time for my homily is up. But Monsignor Ron will be here next Sunday for all the Masses and will share a little bit more and encourage you. But also during that Lenten mission, we'll have one of the greatest ways to trim that dead wood out of your lives, which is confession itself. Every night we're going to have numerous pre-spirit confessions. And so a great thing to do starting now is start to do an examination of conscience. So when you go in and you make a confession, that it is the most powerful confession of your life. And if we do these, I guarantee you this will be the most fruitful Lenten season of your whole life. And may we be very fruitful as we are the living